Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we want to do a tutorial talking about how you can customize themes inside of Linux Mint, or Cinnamon in particular. Now, we're not doing the very simple stuff. This is a little bit more of an advanced video. You're going to want to have a theme you're going to start with. We're not talking about creating something completely from scratch. That would probably be a little bit insane. Why bother when pretty much everything in a theme is images and CSS? So you do have to have a little bit of knowledge about CSS, or cascaded style sheets, which is the basic styling markup for HTML or websites. Fairly simple to learn, but we'll be having a look at that today. So we're going to be talking about how we can override themes in such a way that an update will not kill what you have done. And in the process, we'll be looking at desklets, we'll be looking at themes, style buttons, and things like that. By the end of this video, you'll have an idea of how to go ahead and create those themes that you want and how to customize them for what you're doing. So we're going to be moving towards the theme that you might have seen in my new work computer, which is for, low-end computer for web design development type stuff. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at doing. And here we are on Linux Mint Cinnamon 19.3. So I installed this. I set the wallpapers to change every, I think, 2 or 3 minutes or something. So you'll see the wallpapers rotating. I did that so we can test transparency and things throughout the theming. I also installed GIMP so that we could get better color profiles. In other words, I want to be able to find a color on the screen so I can find it and replace it in the code. I also installed Bluefish Editor for the fact that it has a better advanced search and replace tool. I thought it'd be better than just using the basic text edit, although that would probably do as well. So I also threw some of these themes on here. Now, the desklets, I threw the desklets on here. Now, these desklets here are the ones that are not installed by default. These two I had to download, and they actually do exactly what you want to do. So these are the types of things that I like to see. However, the thumbnail one, this is actually kind of embedded with Cinnamon. And so the difference is you can override the thumbnail one within the you can override the thumbnails within the theme files. You cannot override these ones. So depending on what you're wanting to do, using these ones that are not overridden by the theme files is both good and bad. If you just want to create one theme system and never really change it, these are better the way they are because you can right-click, configure these. You can set them up with any background colors, any text colors that you want, any transparency. Basically, you can set it up to use the theming or not. Any theming that you happen to want to use, you can do that and not have to worry about it. If you do like to change your themes a lot, the thumbnail one will change with the theme. But that also means it's a little bit harder to override in that the question is, are we using a theme that overrides that one or not? We're going to go ahead and assume we're going to use a theme that doesn't override it, just so that I can show you how to theme that independently of the themes. Now, the theming that we're using right now is the basic default Linux Mint Y, and you'll see that this actually does change the widget. So if I change this to any one of these, you'll see now it has the wonderful white that comes with it, but these guys are unchanged. If you go to like Linux Mint, the Linux Mint one actually doesn't manage the theming for this file. And so we want to do something different with that. The Linux Mint is actually the one that we are going to be using here because I find that it has a lot more of the effects I like. You'll already see that it does have some light transparency, although I wasn't necessarily happy with the grays. That's why I designed the theme that I had, where it had a lot more transparency like these guys here. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's just get the simple GUI thing out of the way. If you want to change your menu icon, this is out there easy. Right-click, configure, hit your icon, and you can change your icon here. In fact, you can go back to the older Mint icon if you want. It doesn't really matter. You can choose some of the other type things. The cinnamon symbolic, there's the older ones. So, you can go back to that if you happen to like the old one. It doesn't really matter to me. And that's kind of outside the scope of what we're doing. We're actually going to be doing more of your more advanced type stuff. So this one's actually cool. It has a little transparency in there. Look at that. That's cool. Let's just go ahead and stick with that one for now. So what we're going to do is we need to open up some file managers here in Nemo. So we're going to go ahead and open 2 of these up. I'm going to have one of them on my left and one of these on the right. Now I am already showing my hidden files. You want to make sure that you can see your hidden files, which you can do view and show hidden, or just hold Control and hit H. So over in the right side, we're going to go into the file system. And what we're going to do is we're going to override our theme files. So what you need to do is grab the files from where you're at. So let's go ahead and start with that picture photo frame thumbnail. So we can override that in the Linux Mint theme, which does not actually have any user data for that. So we're going to navigate on our right panel, which is our system, into User, Share, Cinnamon, Desklet. And then we're just going to copy this whole photo frame file. We're going to be dropping these inside of local share cinnamon Desklets. Just paste it right on in. Now, you will not be able to make any edits inside of your user folders. And if you make any edits, a system update will potentially wipe those out. Anything inside of local share is going to override anything inside of user share. So local share is an override for anything in here. So what we're going to do is if you open this guy up, you can see we have a style sheet. Let's go ahead and open this with Bluefish Editor. And you can see here that we have styles. So we have styles. So this here, RGBA on a background color means that we're going with black, which is RGB code for black. And then 0.7 is a 70% transparency. So this should actually bring it pretty close to the other ones. And then, of course, we have a 2-pixel solid border. So let's go ahead and we have not made any changes to that. Now, what you'll notice here is that it hasn't changed yet, and that's because we need to kind of log out, log back in. I'm not sure if switching user is going to do it, but we're just going to try switching user. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll go ahead and give it a try. That way we can keep our windows open. No, I'm going to have to log out. So let's just go ahead and log out of our system here. So we'll log out, we'll log back in, and hopefully we have the box that is transparent. It has a 2-pixel white border around it, and it's probably going to look a little uglier than we would like it to be. And there it is. Isn't that glorious and ugly all at the same time? So let's go ahead and make some adjustments to that. So remember, we are in local, share, cinnamon, Desklets, and photo frame, and let's open this up. Now, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and use this blue color here. So let's just do some light blues on this particular theme. So we're going to right click and configure, and then I want to come down here, and this is the color that I want. The problem is the color that I want, we really don't have, we have hexadecimal, and that's pretty much all we have. Let's go ahead and boot up GIMP. So GIMP is going to give us the ability to find a color profile that we want to use. So let's go ahead and just move GIMP over here. We're going to click on our color palette and then our eyedropper and click inside of our blue. So this is giving us our hexadecimal code, and it's giving us our percentage code under RGB. Ignore the HFV. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little sticky note here so I don't have to keep coming into this. And I'm going to go ahead and write down the hex codes that I need. So I need, what is this? B9DCFC. And I am going to need the RGB as well. Some things we're doing is RGB. Some things we're doing is hexadecimal. So RGB is 185.220.252. And for now, GIMP has served its purpose, so let's just close GIMP. See, that was nice and painless. Okay, so let's close this. We don't need to change this. Now, what we want to do is our background color is good, but you'll notice that the transparencies are a little bit off. That's because this one, if you remember, was at 50% transparency. So we're going to say 0.5 on the transparency. As far as our borders here, let's go ahead and give us a border. This is asking for hexadecimal. So this is where we're going to do our B9 DCFC, and I think 2 pixels is a little bit too big, so let's cut this down to 1 pixel. Save my file. And let's also just go ahead for consistency. Let's configure this guy here a little bit. This is kind of easy point and clicky type stuff. But let's go ahead and do it anyway. We're going to show a border. We're going to use the same color on the border. We do want the border at 1 pixel. Corner radius, everything's using corner radius. That's just fine. Let's go ahead and stack this guy. There's a vertical stack in here somewhere. Layout vertical. And we'll call that good. All right, move my calendar down here. Calendar is, let's just go ahead and remove the calendar for now. We're just going to remove this one just because the styling of the calendar and the styling of this are going to be the exact same. Now, though, we're going to reboot this, and then our photo frame should be about the same. So let's go ahead. Now, there is actually a terminal code that you can refresh Cinnamon. I have actually found that it crashes Cinnamon more than refreshes it. So this, for me, is not too inconvenient to log out and log back in. So there we are. Now our photo frame there is nice and consistent. But that will only work if our theme is not overriding that. So if we come back over here into themes and we switch back to our original theme, oh, we got back to ugly again. Now there is a way to work with this because that CSS sheet we've been dealing with is actually inside the theme file as well. But for our purpose here, like I said, we're just going to edit our Linux Mint theme so we have our nice edits here.